With me now, one of the Democrats who would be at the helm of many of those investigations, Congressman Adam Schiff of California, top Democrat in the House Intelligence Committee. I want to ask you about that list, but first, wanted to see if you had anything to say today about Senator John McCain.
Well, you know, those of us that had a chance to get to know him, and I traveled with him a number of times, just had the greatest admiration for him, his bravery, his plain-spoken manner, his sense of humor, the respect that he had for and was shown to him by leaders all around the world. He really is irreplaceable, and this is a terrible time to lose him. The country really needs people to put country over party, particularly in the GOP, where they have effectively acted as a rubber stamp for this president. And John was no rubber stamp. He was tenacious in defending the interests of the country, even when they conflicted with his own party. So he will be greatly missed, and there's really no one else like him.
You just talked about the rubber stamp nature of the current Republican majority, and that brings us to this memo they are circulating, which is it could just be a memo from Democrats, or it could be a memo that a reporter wrote about, oh, here are some things that probably should be investigated. This is not like crazy out there red meat stuff. Things like the tax returns, emoluments violations, for which there's several federal suits, dealings with Russia, the Stormy Daniels payment, which of course was lied about and since been confirmed, James Comey firings, Steve Mnuchin's business dealings, the cabinet secretary travel expenses. What do you think of this list?
Well, you know, I think that there are a great many candidates to be on that list that probably aren't even on the list. I'll, give you one that I find particularly troubling. Were reports a couple months ago that the president was meeting privately with the Postmaster General to try to browbeat her into raising postal rates on Amazon to punish Jeff Bezos and the Washington Post. We see a president using the instruments of power to attack the free press and the First Amendment. And so there's any number of issues, many of which are not on that list, which have gone completely without oversight. Why did the president reverse course on this Chinese telecom ZTE? Was it because of reports that China was going to invest $500 million in a Trump-branded property? Is U.S. policy basically for sale in Indonesia or in the Middle East or through Jared Kushner? There are a great many serious allegations of impropriety. And, Chris, all you need to know about the current GOP Congress's unwillingness, complete abdication of any oversight responsibility, you can tell from a single statistic, and that is the chairman of the Government Oversight and Reform Committee, Trey Gowdy, who brought us the endless Benghazi investigations, hasn't issued a single subpoena during the Trump administration to investigate any allegations of incompetence or corruption within the Trump administration. They have just been utterly unwilling to do their jobs.
He really hasn't issued one?
Not one that I'm aware of, no. It's really quite breathtaking, but it is a sign, and we certainly see it on the Intelligence Committee, where the only subpoenas they seemed intent on issuing were to investigate the investigators.
Right.
When people like Steve Bannon came in, yes, finally he got a subpoena, but when he still refused to answer questions, they said, well, okay, we're not prepared to take it any further. We really honestly don't want to know the answers. And that, unfortunately, set the tone for their oversight responsibility.
And one of the things that was investigated briefly was, of course, the president and the attacks by Russia during the election, a committee on which you're the ranking member. Roger Stone was one of the individuals, I believe, who came before you in that investigation. And you know this area of fact better than most, having had access to classified material and also to some of the interviews that happened there. So I wanted to get your reaction to a bizarre statement by Roger Stone today, posted to the internet out of nowhere, in which he attempts to kind of get out ahead of what he says in an impending story and deny it. Take a listen.
This is Roger Stone. Somebody has been pushing a fake news story, first with the New York Times, then the Washington Post, and now with Ronan Farrow of the New Yorker. Someone is saying that they overheard a conversation in which I told Donald Trump in October of 2016 what exactly would be in the WikiLeaks disclosures and when they would be disclosed. This is categorically false.
Thoughts?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't believe what Roger Stone has to say any further than I can throw him. There are any number of statements he made under oath to our committee which have been put into question by other things that have been reported since. If you look carefully at what he had to say, He is denying that he told the president exactly what would be in the WikiLeaks disclosures, and it would be just like Roger Stone to say, well, I didn't say that I didn't tell him what would be in it. I just said that I didn't tell him exactly what would be in it. So you simply can't believe anything Roger Stone has to say, at least from my experience. He's one of the people that I think ought to be brought back for further questioning before our committee. In light of statements, for example, I think he and others have acknowledged that they were approached by someone with a Slavic background offering information that would be useful to the campaign. So these are things that I think need further investigation, certainly, but I don't know what else to make of this rather bizarre video.
Well, you join a lot of people in that ultimate determination. Congressman Adam Schiff, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks, Chris.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.